The Indian IT giant that conned investors. Satyam scandal. In the world of finance and tech, nothing grabs attention quite like the word scandal, and India's IT sector, for all its brilliance, wasn't exempt from this sordid allure. Its fair share of oops moments. Few can match the audacity and sheer scale of deception exhibited by India's very own tech titan, Satyam Computer Services. Imagine the horror of realizing your meticulously crafted empire, hailed by millions, was built on lies thicker than the curry in a butter chicken dish. The story of Satyam Computer Services is not just any story. It's a lesson wrapped in betrayal, lined with audacious deceit, and sprinkled with, well, a generous dose of corporate drama. Satyam, once India's golden boy in the IT sector, a beacon of hope and prosperity in the booming digital age. It was the late 1990s and early 2000s, a time when the world had just discovered the charm of outsourcing, and India gleefully styled itself as the world's back office. With Y2K fears driving businesses into the arms of tech professionals, Indian IT firms emerged as saviors. Satyam's trophy shelf, in fact, started getting crowded. By 2008, it had snuggled up to an impressive 185 of the Fortune 500 companies. To put it into perspective, if the IT industry was a classroom, Satyam was that overachiever with badges you couldn't help but envy. It was during this golden era that Raj, fresh out of college, bagged a job at Satyam. His parents boasted to neighbors about their son working at this behemoth. Little did Raj know that this dream would soon turn into a nightmare. Then there was Ananya, a wise, albeit optimistic, investor. Guided by glittering financial reports, she poured her savings into Satyam stocks, envisioning a retirement fueled by dividends and ever-climbing share prices. And why wouldn't she? The numbers looked impeccable. But numbers, as they say, have a peculiar habit of hiding tales of their own. The company wasn't shy about its strategies either. Aggressive marketing. Check. Competitive pricing. Oh, absolutely. Robust, and might we add, dubious. Financial growth that would make even the most stoic investor's heart flutter. Triple check. Side-by-side comparisons with competitors like TCS, Infosys, and Wipro showed Satyam nipping at their heels, ready to take the IT crown. In fact, Satyam's grandeur was so undeniable that it seemed to many as if they were playing in a different league altogether. Behind the scenes, though, the tech juggernaut's show was run by a number-crunching orchestra, led by none other than its chairman, Ramalingaraju. The tune was enchanting, but, as we'd soon discover, the sheet music was riddled with forgery. Just as the brightest star in the night sky can be overshadowed by the dawn, the glow surrounding Satyam dimmed as whispers of impropriety emerged. With every rise, there's a potential fall, and Satyam's descent began with a hushed murmur that soon turned into a deafening roar. Suspicion began not in the labyrinthine alleys of conspiracy theories, but rather in the mundane arena of a failed acquisition attempt. In December 2008, Satyam tried to acquire Meta's properties and Meta's infra, two firms significantly different from Satyam's core IT business. Oh, and did we mention these firms were helmed by the kin of Satyam's chairman, Mr. Ramalingaraju? Well, what's family for if not a little business consolidation, right? The audacious $1.6 billion acquisition bid raised eyebrows. But it wasn't the mere act that caused alarm. It was the swift and fierce backlash from investors that forced Satyam to retract its offer within 24 hours. Surely, if everything were kosher at Satyam, why would such an uproar occur over a mere diversification attempt? With the business world now attuned to Satyam's frequency, the alarm bells couldn't be silenced. The revelation came in January 2009, with a letter to Satyam's board and the stock exchange. It wasn't from a whistleblower or a disgruntled employee. It was from Mr. Ramalinga Raju himself. In a move that can only be described as the corporate equivalent of a plot twist in a suspense thriller, Raju admitted to a staggering financial manipulation to the tune of $1.47 billion. Suddenly, Satyam's truthful image seemed as authentic as a $3 bill. The magnitude of the confession unleashed a tsunami in India's corporate realm. How did such a massive scam stay under wraps? The Securities and Exchange Board of India, or SEBI, and the Central Bureau of Investigation, or CBI, swiftly initiated probes into Satyam's operations. Auditors from PricewaterhouseCoopers, who had gleefully certified Satyam's accounts for years, now found themselves in a whirlwind of interrogations. Deception at its finest. The company's inflated bank balances, non-existent revenues, and phantom assets were like props in a grand theater production, creating an illusion of prosperity. The artificial inflation of profits over the years was staggering. Externally, the stock market had its own way of meting out punishment. Satyam's share price, which once soared like an eagle, plummeted faster than an anvil in a cartoon. In less than a month, its share price dropped from a comfortable 226 Indian rupees to a paltry 23.85 Indian rupees. As for the consequences, they were cataclysmic. Shareholders, who once toasted to Satyam's successes, watched in horror as their investments plummeted faster than a lead balloon. From its peak in 2008, Satyam's share price tanked over 80% in early 2009. If that wasn't gut-wrenching enough, the company's market value took a $2.2 billion nosedive. However, the real theatrical began when the gavels came out. Criminal charges were pressed, and not just against the company's top brass. Ramalinga Raju, his brother, and several top executives were arrested and charged with cheating, criminal conspiracy, and breach of trust. A bit ironic for a company named Satyam, which means truth in Sanskrit. The financial impact was reminiscent of a bomb explosion, with the shockwaves reaching far corners of the globe. Satyam, a company previously valued at a whopping $7 billion, saw its worth dwindle to a fraction. Investors from the US to Europe to Asia gnashed their teeth as they calculated their losses, with US investors alone facing a staggering setback of over $1 billion. While the embers of the scandal still glowed, the phoenix that was once Satyam prepared for its next flight. As the world watched, Satyam's next chapter was set to begin, heralding a new era in corporate India. In April 2009, Tech Mahindra, an IT firm, won a bid to acquire a majority stake in Satyam. For the distressed employees and anxious stakeholders, This was the equivalent of a parched man finding an oasis in a desert. A $351 million bid might sound like pocket change compared to Satyam's former valuation. But in the chaos of the moment, it was a lifesaver. Corporate governance took center stage, prompting Indian companies to enhance their oversight mechanisms and embrace transparency like never before. Auditing firms faced the heat and began to approach their roles with renewed diligence, lest they end up in the next headline. The Satyam scandal, in all its melodramatic glory, became a case study. Business schools, corporate boardrooms, and auditor training programs all began dissecting the incident, drawing lessons, and designing preventive measures. Satyam's tale might have been stained, but its aftermath paved the way for significant reforms. The Mahindra Group's acquisition and subsequent merger of Mahindra Satyam with Tech Mahindra in 2013 restored a semblance of normalcy. Today, the combined entity stands as a testament to the idea that redemption, while hard-earned, is possible. While its scandalous past is unlikely to fade from collective memory anytime soon, its recovery narrative reminds us that sometimes the end is just a new beginning.